So welcome back to another episode of Bass and Bill 96. Today's going to be episode number 2, but it's actually the third tournament of the College Bass Tour since I didn't film at the first one. It's on Sanford Lake in Midland, Michigan. So I've never fished this lake in my life. I only had about 3 hours the day before to practice it. Really no idea what I was doing, so I pretty much just went and junk fished. I did everything that is pretty much in my wheelhouse. I was flipping a jig around. I was fishing offshore with a jig and a drop shot, trying a little bit of that, and I found a pattern in some of these creek arms, and I caught a couple of really nice fish in practice, and so that's what we were going to roll with. Didn't really know if the pattern was going to hold up or if the fish were flukes, but that's all we had to go off of. So we start in the back of what was my most productive creek arm in practice. I got the most bites back there. I only actually set hook on one of the fish, but I was shaking fish off left and right. I was getting all sorts of fish action back in here. And Brody puts the first fish in the boat. Also, I'm going to be doing some voiceovers for the first about 3 minutes of this video because the audio is absolutely terrible. It was raining outside and I did not want to take the GoPro out of the waterproof housing. So Brody's first fish is about a 2-pounder. It absolutely choked a frog and it's gushing blood. Luckily, Brody decided to bring some Mountain Dew with us, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Mountain Dew trick, but if you pour Mountain Dew down a fish's throat that has, you know, a deep hook in it, it's actually going to clot the blood up and make it so it won't bleed out. The fish should be fine, and actually that fish was absolutely fine. We had it in the live well for a couple hours before we ended up culling it out, and we poured the Mountain Dew on there and immediately clots up, and that fish was absolutely fine. So if you were looking for a tip and trick, there you go. So about 5 minutes after that one, I'm flipping a jig and I put our second fish in the boat. It's about another 2-pounder. Not the quality of fish that we're looking for, but you know, beginning of the day, that's all you could ask for. It's the first like 20 minutes of the tournament, we got 2 fish in the boat. So we decided to keep running this little backwater pattern that we had going on from practice, but we kind of adapted a little bit when we went to the next cove because the conditions had completely changed. In practice, it was sunny outside, and the tournament, it was overcast and rainy. So I started throwing a slow topwater bait. I was throwing a popper. Brody was kind of alternating between a popper and a spook, stuff like that. Just slow-moving topwaters, and we were throwing up against the break walls and the different docks in the area. So the third fish that I put in the boat is like a 3.5-pounder. It is one of our bigger fish, and I caught it in between these 2 dock posts and I actually missed it the first time it came up, as you guys saw. That was crazy because a lot of times they won't come back and hit a popper. If it's got treble hooks on it like that, usually they feel that and they won't come back. But this fish either was stupid or super aggressive and super hungry because it came back right away and just absolutely annihilated it. So far, biggest fish in the box, and we're rolling. We're moving now. We know this is like a little bit of a deal, so we keep moving back in this cove and we keep throwing that topwater. So this next one's absolutely crazy. I'm actually taking off this little smallmouth right here, and Brody's like, yo, something just jumped out in the middle of the channel there. So I, quick throw that fish back, hook my popper out right to the spot, right where it was at. I saw little boil marks of where the fish had just busted, and immediately blows up on it. Nice like 2.5-pounder, probably our second biggest fish in the boat. And like I said, this is all happening so fast, these popper bites that we're getting. We just continue to get fish after fish after fish in this spot. So we know that we're on a deal. There's other boats in the back of this channel. No one else seems to be catching anything. As I'm looking around though, everyone else is throwing buzz baits or bottom baits. So either a fast topwater or they're fishing beneath the fish. So I think that we really had something figured out, and it was mostly luck, to be honest. We stumbled upon this. This is not something that I did in practice. I wasn't throwing the popper in practice really because we didn't have the right conditions for it. So we have 4 fish in the box now. We're looking for a 5th fish, and then we're going to start trying to upgrade those fish. About 5 casts after that crazy one in the middle of the channel, I catch our biggest fish of the day. It ends up going just a hair under 4 pounds, as you guys will see later in the video. But it barely slurped it. It just came up and just sucked the popper under us. And we get this fish in the boat, and we were absolutely hyped. Got the limit done, and we have 2 really nice fish in the boat, and then, you know, a decent one, and then a couple 2-pounders just to finish out the limit. But we know that we have to make some upgrades if we really want to have a chance at winning this thing. This is actually where the audio is going to get slightly better, so I'm going to stop doing these little voiceover things.
Big old smallie baby. No way, buddy.
So that smallmouth just called out one of our morning fish. We get rid of a 2-pounder, put this like 3-pound smallmouth in the boat. We now have 3 solid fish over 3 pounds. So we moved to another cove and I started throwing the popping frog instead of the actual striking popper, since there's a lot more emergent vegetation and laydowns.
Right side, right side, right side. Boom, baby! She tried to eat it off that log. Dude, that's a fucking chunk. Yes, sir. Oh, heck yeah, man. They're up in the trees today, baby. Oh, I was recording. Thank God. I didn't think I was. That was just sick. Alright, let's get one of these dudes out of here.
Within about 3 minutes of throwing the frog, put that 4th good keeper in the boat. That one's probably our 2nd biggest, probably around 3.5 pounds too, but it just so fat and absolutely annihilated the frog. We just need 1 more good fish, and we know that we're gonna have a solid chance.
I just had one out. I didn't even see a blow up on it. Son of a bitch.
It missed it. I cast back out there, and this time I saw it hit it, set hook, had the fish pinned up, and I saw it come up, and it was like a 4 to 5 pound fish, no joke, and it threw the frog. It was absolutely devastating. There's nothing that we could do about it. It was the first real big miss that we had on the day, and it kind of crushed our spirits a little bit because we knew that that was really the fish that we needed for sure to take the cake, to win the tournament, and it just got away from us. But we're not one to quit. And we put our heads down and we just kept fishing. So after missing that one, we still know we need to make a call because we have about a 2 1/4 pounder in the live well still, and that's just not going to cut it. To have a chance, we knew we needed to get that fish gone, and we keep catching 2-pounder after 2-pounder after 2-pounder. Nothing's helping us. We decided to make a move, and we kind of go back to the original pattern. So the sun comes back out, full blown, and I start throwing the jig again.
Yes, sir. Coming in. Coming in the boat, baby. Oh, yeah.
So I boat flipped that fish. It's like a 2 3/4 pounder. It's not quite the quality that we wanted for our 5th fish. It's definitely our smallest one, but you know, we were stoked to get rid of that little 2 1/4 pound largie. We don't have a lot of time left, but we decided to go flip some main lake dikes just to see if we could get a random big one.
Broke me off, man. That had to be a muscular pike. I just retied. I mean, it was big too. So I'm saying Had to be.
So after breaking off what I assume was probably a pike or a muskie or some sort of fish with teeth, we head into the weigh-in.
You roll the bag in the bottom. I'll get him.
$986.
Oops, I did. Good. Wayne, big fish?
Boat 25.
Yeah.
Felt like there was a good one in there.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. Man.
A really good sack of fish here for boat 25 for Brody Anderson and Bill Matthews.
You think so?
I usually go length, but
If
it's,
anybody's weighing in, you can come back around
Yeah,
here.
I think you're right.
We got the raffle tickets. You want to don't want to miss those, and you also want to. I think we got pizza and stuff over there.
thanks to Midway Chevrolet.
Thanks to Midway Chevrolet. 383 on the big fish. Got another solid sack of fish here that's gonna be a chance for the new leader.
$15 something. 15 and what? Yeah. Oh, is it really?
1627, new leader.
Let's go, man.
Solid bag of fish and a mix of smallmouth.
Good job, fellas.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
We got boat 27. Okay, champions. So they not only won first place with 1627, they also had the Chevy sticker on there, so they got that money also. We got a Hummingbird first place trophy plus the Yeti bottles. Brady Anderson and Bill Matthews.
Brady. How you doing, Brady?
Brady.
Thank you.
They get a Quantum Smoke S3 bait cast reel along with that too.
Yeah, with 670 better than 50.
Not this much.
Why don't you hold one check and you hold one check?
Thank you. Thank you.
We ended up in first place. Even though we didn't catch that big fish, we missed it. We thought we blew our opportunity. We ended up in first place by like a quarter pound, or maybe even slightly less than a quarter of a pound. And it was a 45 boat field, so it was a relatively competitive tournament. There's a lot of really good college sticks out there, and it was my first college win. And it felt really good because, like I said, I thought that we had blown it when we missed that big fish, but somehow the Lord just blessed us that day, and we had enough for what we needed. And also on top of that, this is the weekend after that Lake St. Clair tournament. If you haven't seen that one, it's absolutely insane. It's the biggest bag of fish I've ever caught in my life in a tournament. And that one, if you have watched it, you know it went sour, and we kind of had the win in the bag, and then due to a rule / us having a dead fish, we did not get the win. And so the weekend before, I should have had my first college win. And that was, again, like a 45 boat field, so a relatively decent sized college fishing tournament. Blew that one, but then we were able to come back the very next weekend and get it done. So it was kind of like a redemption moment for us. So on top of all that, this first place finish is going to propel us up the leaderboard for the Angler of the Year race. We had the 11th place finish in the first one, the 7th place finish in the second one, and now we have a first place finish. So we're consistently like at the top 10 or above mark. And for 3 tournaments, that's really solid. We know going into Wixom Lake, the 4th and final tournament, we need to get probably a top 10 finish once again to clinch the Angler of the Year title. So the Wixom Lake tournament is going to be the next day after we fish the Sanford Lake tournament. So stay tuned because that will be the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and if you like these tournament videos, if you're enjoying this series of the College Bass Tour, then please subscribe. It means a lot to me, and I will catch you guys next time.